Wrestling POV content may not be suitable to audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV content may not be suitable to audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to modern audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to modern audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to audiences. Your discretion is advised.
Dun, 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 dun. Kids, welcome back. It's another edition of WPOV Global. I'm your host, the legend T. James Logan. With me, my good gentleman of gentlemens, Elio Canella. Elio, how are you this week?
I am doing great.
Now, I know you've got wrestling on your noggin. I know for a fact that you even emailed a result to yourself, and you listed the opponent of Cassius Ohno as Gentleman Elio Canella. Can you explain this to me, please?
Cassius Ohno defeated Gentleman Elio Canella. Instead of Gentleman Jack Gallagher, I wrote Gentleman Elio Canella.
Well, nah, we'll get into that, but I know you got a bit of beef of him using the gentleman thing himself. We might have to have a battle of the gentlemen. The two of you, and I think the best way we do this is in a dog chain paper cut match with Jimmy Havoc as the referee.
So we get to use Ace Austin's playing card?
Maybe.
Okay.
Well, folks, you know what? You are tuned in to another edition of WPOV Global. That's where me and the gentlemen scour the world looking at professional wrestling that is not particularly WWE. However, we do make an exception with WWE UK NXT, which we do cover regularly. And you know what? We've got a lot of stuff to talk about, but I just wanted to check in before we get rolling here. I mean, me and you haven't had a chance to talk for a couple days. It's good to see you're still alive. You're still breathing. Obviously, you're infused with wrestling on your mind. Anything else you got to report to the people?
That's about it. I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, you know what? Why don't we dig into a little bit of news? All right.
Okay.
And I'm going to let you open up because I know you have a news piece you wanted to start off with.
I do have I do have a couple of AEW ones, and I also have an NXT UK one. So they coincide, actually.
Well, let's hear them off.
So, first of all, it's been officially confirmed by Chris Jericho that the main event at All Out will feature himself taking on Adam Page for the AEW Championship, but also another rumored match for that event is said to be Jon Moxley facing Kenny Omega after Moxley made his debut at Double or Nothing and laid out both Jericho and Omega.
Excellent. Now, is that official yet? The Moxley match?
The Moxley match is just rumored right now.
I seem to have lost you there.
But the
there?
Jericho Page one is official.
Okay. Well, we knew Jericho Page was going to be the main event. You know, that was what this was all going to crown the first AEW champion, which, by the way, was the question in our poll, which we'll go after right after the news. And, you know, it seemed the setup was there for Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega, so already the second pay-per-view this will be a pay-per-view, won't it?
I believe so. Yep.
Yeah. So I guess technically
they're doing their June one.
Okay. Well, technically it's their third, but we know realistically it's AEW's second because we all pretty much know that very first one was pretty much just ROH, you know, giving them a helping hand for whatever reason we'll never know. But that's exciting. So what other news do you got for us this week?
And being that AEW All Out is taking place on August 31st in Chicago, Illinois, that's not the only one taking place on that day. NJPW will be running a show in London, and NXT UK will have their Takeover Cardiff show on that day as well.
So there is a lot of competition for viewers on that weekend.
A lot. That's gonna be a loaded show for us.
Now,
with 2 pay-per-views.
yeah. Now, if it comes down to it, and obviously we're not going to be able to see all 3 events live. For you,
Right.
which one is the most important of these events? Which one is your first pick to watch?
I would go. I go with All Out as the first one because NXT UK I can always watch it at any time I want.
Right.
Like it's on the network. So
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna say for me, just because of the way I love it, it's probably I would pick New Japan first, and then I would probably pick all the AEW, and and I'm sure the NXT UK one is going to be excellent too. They've all been so far. So, but you know what? You know who the winner in this whole competition is? Definitely has to be the fan. I mean, so much great wrestling.
Yeah, the fans have. Now we have alternative.
I remember being a kid, Elio, and you'd see like WWE, and maybe even as you got a little older, WCW, and it was like a long time before the next big thing. And now it's just continuous good wrestling constantly. And that's awesome for we're kind of in the I feel this is almost like the golden age of wrestling, of watching wrestling. So
I mean, ROH is already talking about their best in the world, which I'm not even. What are they up to now? Like, how many best in the worlds have they had?
714. Who knows? It feels like that. It's hard to keep track with ROH, man. They throw so many shows at you without fanfare sometimes, and then some with.
Like they just had one this past weekend, State of the Art or something.
Yeah,
that was I saw that when I went to watch ROH earlier.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, a bit of news I had concerned State of the Art, which awfully strange name for a pay-per-view. I'll give it. There was an incident that occurred that is generating a lot of buzz right now across the internet. And it has to do with an altercation between a fan and Bully Ray that occurred apparently backstage at the show. Apparently, a fan was in the audience, and he was what do they call them? The voluptuous? No, what do they call those chicks?
Allure.
Allure. Okay. Apparently, according to any of the stories, he was arguing with members of the Allure and said some comments that just like most fans do. We can't confirm how bad they were or not. Nobody's really said yet. The Allure's claiming that they were lewd sexual comments. He was claiming that he was just getting in their face and telling them like every other fan does. Telling the heel to fuck off. So
he said apparently one of them spit on him or something.
Yeah, and another one pie faced him. Apparently, put his hand in. Put her hand on his face and pushed him a bit. And apparently afterwards, a security guard came up, told the guy that they needed to talk to him backstage. He thought maybe he was being apologized to or something. And then he was taken into a room where Bully Ray came in. And according to the fan, he felt extremely intimidated and threatened by this backstage. According to Bully Ray, he just had a quick conversation, told the guy to watch his mouth. But this has gone so viral that ROH is launching an internal investigation into this whole incident. And in this day and age, I find it incredibly stupid that anybody would take, especially in a company of repute, take someone backstage unattended to whether to talk to them or not. I mean, that guy could have just came out there and said, he was attacked or he was, that opens up to so many bad legal possibilities. So I can see why ROH would be concerned by this. This is in this day and age, this stuff shouldn't be happening. I mean, if the guy said enough stuff that it was that horrible, kick him out. That's what you got security for. And if the security didn't feel he was enough to kick him out, well, then a wrestler shouldn't be backstage intimidating or trying to talk to someone like that. Just really bad idea.
And why are we even still seeing Bully Ray on TV in 2019?
I have no idea. But you know what? Talking about weird things through social media, just the other night, former wrestler Kevin Matthews, who had been working for Impact for the last while, he has since parted ways with the company. He actually had been putting up some stuff on Twitter, and Scott D'Amore, who's a current exec backstage at Impact, kind of jokingly started throwing a few little jabs here. And it opened up some really ugly comments. and it was stuff we know about, especially me and you having to investigate a lot about Impact and the state of its going, to see these comments that being brought to light. I mean, Matthews pointed out some stuff as how Impact is lowballing talent and making them sign ridiculously low contracts and then keeping them there and forcing them not to be able to make a good living, or stuff like like how their show gets disrupted. We talked about that last week about how in the middle of a show all of a sudden you're watching some fly fishing or some crap and saying, how can you call yourself a credible company when this is an ongoing occurrence? So it's funny when we talk about these things, but when it's out there in the public out and out, it brings some really ugly light to Impact.
Yeah.
And so this sort of thing is, it said later on some of these comments were deleted and whatnot, but still an ugly incident happening once again. So just that's two kind of, Twitter happenings that don't make people look very good. Bully Ray does not look in a good light here. In turn, ROH in a tiny way, not an Impact. So, yeah.
What's going on? Twitter creates a lot of problems.
It sure seems like Twitter is sometimes not worth its weight. Now,
although maybe it's sometimes it's the people that the way they use Twitter, I guess.
Yes, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. Well, you know what? Moving on, I want to take a look now at our poll of the week. Okay. Now, we set a poll out there, fans, and I mean, this one is topical in the sense is about a match coming up, and we asked the fans. We said, fans, at least on our Facebook page, we set our poll as being, who do you think will become the first AEW champion? Will it be Chris Jericho or Hangman Adam Page? Now, before we read the results of what the fans say, Elio, who do you think will be the first AEW champion, and why?
I actually voted on this. I actually voted on this. I went with Adam Page.
You went with Adam Page?
I just think I think Jericho's time is come and gone.
Okay.
He's been around for forever, it seems. I think it's time for him to step down and maybe give it to someone else.
Okay. Now, you know what? I also, in my mind, I think Adam Page is the better one to go there. And I get that they use Jericho and you let him win the first pay-per-view, you let him become in the first championship, because he's definitely name value, I mean, you look at a lot of the people, except for Jon Moxley now, you look at everybody who's in AEW, all the top guys are, we know them because we're wrestling fans,
Right.
But I'm pretty sure the average wrestling fan may not really know who the Young Bucks are.
Okay.
They may remember that Cody Rhodes was Stardust, and what the heck, wasn't he just a minor league dude? Chris Jericho does give that oomph of a big name talent. However,
I do like his whole new look though, with the clown makeup and the hat. And that stuff's pretty cool though.
But definitely, this is a new company. One of the things they've talked about is going forward and being progressive. And how can you go forward and be progressive if you're willing to take a 45-year-old dude as your, or an almost 50-year-old dude as your first champion?
Yep.
So I went with Adam Page. Now the fans surprisingly went 57% for Chris Jericho, 43% for Adam Page.
Wow.
I'm thinking the fans, sure, Chris Jericho is the more well-known name, but like I said, how can you be a ongoing forward progressive company when you're willing to put your belt on an almost 50-year-old?
See, this is what I'm talking about. There's so much wrestling out there. Go out and look up these guys like Adam Page. And,
exactly. Well, you know what?
Find out some of their matches. There's so much stuff available on YouTube.
Okay, well, you know what? That's an interesting thing, fans. We're going to have to come up with some more interesting polls. We don't have one yet. We're going to be putting our heads together to think of one for next week. But right now, let's take a look at New Japan Wrestling. Now, in New Japan Wrestling, we have come across, we are finally now at the finals. We are recording this the day before the actual finals. Okay, we've gone through 14 days of round robin in this tournament. Okay? And
that's right. Tomorrow is June the 5th. Jon Moxley and Juice Robbins.
That's right. Now, the tournament finally ended, and let's face it, Block A, there was no doubt Shingo was going to come out of there. He actually went undefeated in this tournament. Nobody beat him.
Did great.
He did. He beat everybody. In the second, in Block B, it came down to on up until day 13, where El Phantasmo and Will Ospreay were the guys. Depending on if Will Ospreay beat Taguchi, he would be the one to slink ahead and win. Now, El Phantasmo was our pick for this. He, however, did not advance. Will Ospreay defeated Taguchi. He has only lost 1 or 2 matches the entire tournament himself, looking awesome. I got to admit, I mean, every time I told you to go back and look at matches again, it seemed like 90% of them were the Will Ospreay matches.
I went back to see Phantasmo and Robbie Eagles.
Awesome match, that one too.
Funny. Like, what a heel!
Yeah,
he give him the two sweet side.
Yeah,
he give him the 2 sweet side. Then he like pulls his blindfold his headband down, kick him in the stomach.
Well, definitely El Phantasmo is definitely a heel. There's no doubt about that. So now, looking into it, going into this finals now, we have the situation of Shingo taking on Will Ospreay. And Shingo being undefeated has looked good, but let's face it, looking at the performers in the other bracket, Will Ospreay might actually be the guy to beat Shingo here. It's clearly possible. I'm not going to say 100% Shingo's got this. You know, I think that Will Ospreay and you know what? I love Shingo. The guy's humongous. I almost don't think he looked. I kind of don't think he really is a junior heavyweight, to be honest. But you know what, though? I'm going to pick him to win, and that Will Ospreay will come close. But this is a tough one. I'm almost on the fence here. Part of me wants to pick Will Ospreay as his last hurrah in the mid, in the junior heavyweight division. What do you think? Who are you looking here at?
I'm sticking with Shingo to win.
Nice, and probably the same reason. I mean, he looked. What really sold you on Shingo?
I don't know. He looks like throughout the whole tournament, he looked unbeatable. Like he won every match. Even the ones I didn't get to see, we would run them down and you mentioned he won that match or he won this match. And
there were no fluke wins here. He was folks, he was dominant. I mean, he pretty much handed everybody in Block A their ass back. So,
especially that one against, I think I can't remember which. I can remember which one. Shorio.
Show.
Night one.
That was a very good. That was probably the only person who came close to actually beating him in this tournament was Show. And Show, as we know, has been obsessive trying to beat Shingo in anything. Whether it's a tag team, whether it's in this. His goal right now is to try and beat Shingo. So that's definitely I can see with a little more work, Show's going to get there. I mean, he's pretty awesome. Now, of course, folks, that also means that night of the Super Tournament, at the end of the finals here, the main event will be Juice Robinson defending the NJPW US. Which is odd that the Japanese have a U.S. belt. The U.S. belt. Juice Robinson putting up against Jon Moxley. So, wow, that is going to be an exciting match. And it's going to be the first time we've really seen the former Dean Ambrose in a big thing here. This will be the first really big match. So I'm excited about this.
Yep.
I'm not even going to pick a winner here or not. Let's just say I'm going to sit back and enjoy that.
Yeah.
Now we have coming up our next New Japan big card is going to be Dominion. Dominion should always feature a title shot. I know. I think right now the number one contender for Okada's belt. Oh, who is his number one contender? It's probably.
Is it Jericho and Okada?
No, that match is. Oh, is that the Dominion match? Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right. That is the Dominion match. And then
this Sunday, actually.
And we also have on the horizon. I'm pretty sure that Naito's still got his eyes on that belt too. So lots of cool stuff coming up for New Japan. We're going to be covering, and I hope you're getting your vitamins in and your workout because man, when we cover the G1, that's going to be a hell of a lot of wrestling.
Oh man, I'll be ready.
Well, fans, we're going to take a quick break now and go over to part 2 of the interview we had with Ricky Mandel. So sit back, enjoy this, and we'll see you in a few.
So you go in and you do these kind of things, and you start filming, obviously, and doing things. Were you surprised when you got in there what was actually being done?
It was. Here's the thing, like, because during season 1, I didn't know what was really going on until the show aired.
Okay.
So we're filming stuff, but we're just filming as if it's a wrestling show. That just looks cool. You know, it's just a different type of set or scene. I didn't realize what they were really doing until, like, okay, it's the first episode of Lucha Underground, and then you start watching the show going like, whoa.
Yeah, what exactly did you think when you saw it?
I just thought, like, wow, I mean, something different.
Mm-hmm.
Something different that I was, like, very happy to not only be a part of, but almost, you know, you see stuff and then you go, I want to be a part of that. Whereas, like, I'm seeing it for the first time and it's like, I want to be a part. Oh, wait, I am a part of this. How cool is that?
Very.
You know, it's like, I'm already there. Like, awesome. Now my next goal is to be, because what were they doing with me at the time? I was doing a lot of dark matches to try and figure out what they wanted to do with me. Because at first they wanted to use me as a character called El Americano, and that character it was like, whatever, I guess it just kind of didn't get off the ground as well as they had hoped, which was the case with quite a few characters that they had. It's just little things trying out that they felt wasn't working. But that's when they came up with the Disciples of Death. And they had me portraying Trece.
And that was the character that violently dies, right?
Yes. Yeah, I got my heart ripped out by my friend. Yeah.
Hate when that happens.
My good friend El Mariachi Loco ripped my heart out.
Oh, the crazy musician El Mariachi Loco. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, those rock and rollers.
Yeah.
Now you die with that minor character, but you come back with a character that was actually kind of in the forefront for a little bit there. Tell us a bit about that character, the Ricky Mandel character. What was that all about? Like,
sure.
Talk about what he is, the essence.
So well, here's the backstory with that whole thing. So I'm sitting down. I remember, like, in the same week. This is the same, like, maybe 2-3 days apart. I see a documentary on Child's Play, which is funny because I just brought that up. And then the other thing was an article on the scariest places in the world, and one of them happened to be, or creepiest places, I don't know if you want to say scary, whatever, was the Island of the Dolls in Mexico.
Yes, I've seen that.
So I'm just like, okay, this is cool stuff, you know, yay, okay, whatever. And then I got the script for how they were going to be killing off the Disciples of Death. Not knowing they had something in mind for me, but me being just, I guess, wrestler mindset, or just from what you hear about entertainers or whatever, always have an idea.
Right.
Always have something you could pitch to them so I just don't get dropped off. Well, what happens is I see these videos, and then I get this script, and I'm like, holy crap, they're killing me off. Like, this sucks. I don't know, is this it for me? Like, what's going on? So, I'm like, I gotta think of something. I gotta bring something to the table. I gotta have something to pitch. And I'm just like, what's it gonna be? I mean, do I go back to, like, the character I was portraying on the Indies, which was, at the time, the mirror image Ricky Mandel, which, you know, I mean, it was okay, it was fun, but I was like, does that fit in with Lucha Underground? Can they do something cool with that? Who knows? I'm like, I gotta think of something. Just come on, think. And I remember specifically, as I'm going to bed this one night, like, ideas just pop into my head. And it was, obviously the idea didn't exactly planned it, but I'm happy that we did it at all, and it did work perfectly fine, like better than I could have imagined as well. But I had this vision of me walking to the ring, kind of creeped out, with a doll in my hand. And I know it was all because of the Island of the Dolls article that I read. And the fact that Lucha Underground kind of was known for going above and beyond being different.
Yeah.
And different storylines and different characters. So, like, with that night, I just remember, like, I was, like, literally, I was, like, asleep. And I woke up and just started, like, thinking of ideas that, like, oh, man, this doll could, like, come to life. And everybody thinks it's just, like, a normal doll. But then it starts walking and talking, which that didn't happen. Because, I mean, I don't know how much an animatronic doll costs, but it's probably pretty expensive. But that's basically the idea I had. So when we went in to shoot the scene with Trece passing away, being murdered, having his heart ripped out by his friend, I went into, they called me in the office, and I'm like, oh, we're just letting you know, like, you know, they just basically put me over, you know, talked nothing but good things about me, which I appreciated, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And they just went on to say, like, you know, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And this was like the beginning of me really breaking out of my shell, because I remember thinking to myself, like, don't say anything. Don't say it. It's dumb. They're going to laugh at you. Maybe they'll like it, but if they don't, they're going to think you're dumb. Don't say it. Don't say it. And as I'm, like, thinking these thoughts, they just start spilling out of my mouth. And I just start pitching the idea, and they basically said they loved it, and that for the remainder of season 2, there was no time, and they were like, maybe season 3, possibly season 4, but right now, that's when they pitched the idea of me just being with Johnny, and being like the devotee to Johnny Mundo in the Worldwide Underground.
Right.
Like, I'm for it. I'm all for it. And that led to other amazing opportunities as well, which, you know, I mean, because I used to watch John growing up. I think John's a great dude, you know, so it was, like, very cool to be in that position, very lucky position to be working with such, I mean, like, such not only, like, amazing talent, but just amazing people in general.
Yeah.
You know, that you can learn from and just are cool, you know.
So we got to say that the whole Lucha Underground thing is kind of an exciting, new, different aspect of wrestling in your life.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if you're at liberty to say or anything like that, but I know a lot of people are wondering, is there going to be more Lucha Underground? Are you at liberty to tell us anything about that?
I'm not the one who makes the decision, my friend.
Okay.
If I were, we would be on season 12 right now.
Obviously, you're having fun and enjoying it a lot.
Yes, because I mean, it's more than just like it's more than just getting out there and be able to perform as a wrestler. I also do enjoy, like, the backstage vignettes and just being able to do a lot of character work. And I mean, Lucha Underground provides so much of that to not only myself, but I mean anybody involved with that side of the show. When you get asked to do vignettes, or I mean, I know for myself, I was like, oh my god, like, because at first I wasn't doing them. Yeah. And then when I started, I mean, like, especially during season 4, those things were like, here's all your vignettes, like, we got you on this day, and this day, and this day, and this day, and it was just like, wow, like, let's keep these coming, man. Like,
that's excellent.
This is awesome. Like, I love. It's such an exciting thing to be a part of. Like, the whole thing. Like, I want to be in the ring. I want to be backstage. I want to be involved in this, and just have my hand in different pots, I guess, as it were.
Well, I got to tell you, fans, I like I said, if you don't know what Lucha Underground is, if you are a wrestling fan and you just like really unusual storytelling, really give it a check, because I went in with not knowing really what it was, hearing weird things from other people. Went in with a negative attitude, came out enjoying the heck out of it, and gotta say, I hope we see a lot more of it. I hope we see Ricky Mandel going forward. But now you're involved in Maverick Wrestling, and your career is obviously still going hard. And what kind of aspirations do we see in the future that you really want to shoot for, Ricky?
You know what? Honestly, there's so many different. Like, here's the thing. Like, as a kid, I couldn't even tell you, like, I want to be part of Lucha Underground, because there was no Lucha Underground, and I feel like there's so many different opportunities popping up left and right. So, honestly, I just want to be in the position where I'm a part of a show that's making a difference, that's having people be excited about wrestling again, and is really based off of everything, every aspect in wrestling, so I could portray not only being a wrestler, but also a character.
Okay.
So, and I love, I mean, I don't know, I just like opening my mind to different characters, so I like to think outside the box, not just with my character, but if other people have, like, man, I don't know what to do, like, I don't know what to do, and it's like, well, what's your character? Like, what do you want to do? And then, pitch ideas to these people, and then, even just come up with stuff for them. I mean, that's always fun, too.
That's very cool, man. That's very cool.
Because at the end of the day, I think it's, people like pro wrestling, sports entertainment, it's just because I'm a pro wrestler doesn't mean I can't be an entertainer, too.
Exactly. Now, I'm going to ask you the last question, and I'm going to have anything to do with Lucha Underground in this interview, is,
sure,
except for the guys that we all know are the main big-name indie guys out there, right? Who's a cast member that maybe hasn't quite hit that big time yet, but you think that fans should maybe take a look at? Who's a real cool cat in your ideas?
Oh, man. Well, I'm not going to say Little Cholo, that's for sure. No, I'm kidding. I have to rib him. That's the joke. I honestly feel like most of us have gotten a buzz.
That's cool.
I mean, in some form or another.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's a good question. I don't want to say like, oh, this person hasn't been looked at.
Right.
Like,
but who's a guy just like obviously?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But like, I honestly think like here for example is like taking Marty the Moth for example. Like people know who he is. He's very well known. But like that guy, I mean, to me, could be a top star anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, like, he's well known, but he could be more well known amongst everybody. If he's not already known, he should be. That type of deal. That's the way I feel about it. I would say Marty.
Okay, you know what's ironically funny about this, Ricky? And fans, we didn't even talk about this, but I've been sick most of the week with a flu, and I know the regular people on the show knew I was kind of struggling through the last show, but I was actually scheduled yesterday to interview Marty the Moth, and I was too sick to do it, so I had to force a reschedule for next week. Yeah, so I'm interviewing him next week, actually. And then you bring him up, so yeah, that's awesome.
When you talk to him, tell him I said hello.
I will. Actually, I'm going to tell him that you praised him up more than anyone else on Lucha, so by all means.
Cool.
Well, you know what? Right now, I want you, suppose I'm like some rich cat promoter in the middle of somewhere or wherever, and I decide I want to book Ricky Mandel. What kind of social media stuff you got out there? Lay them all on me, all the Twitters, Instagrams. Let's get them out there for the fans.
Okay, let's throw them out there. Instagram is Ricky_Mandel, Mandel. Same as Twitter. And my Facebook is just Ricky Mandel.
Okay.
And that's pretty much all I really use because I got other things to do.
and are you looking like? Is that a kind of a hope though? That would it something cool if some guy like on the other side of the country, other side of the world says, "Yeah, we want to bring you in for a couple shows." Is that something you're interested in?
Oh, of course.
Excellent.
Of course, absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to have to put the bug in some of the Canadian promoters up here. Wouldn't mind seeing some cool new American talent.
That'd be great. That'd be phenomenal. I would greatly appreciate that.
Now, do you have a YouTube channel or stuff where people can see clips of you?
I do have a YouTube channel, and here's the thing with my YouTube channel, though. The link is on my Instagram, but the funny thing about it is I don't really have as much wrestling on there as I do weird videos, creepy videos to promote the character that I've been portraying with his like doll and puppet stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go on my YouTube channel, it's a lot of almost just weird, just to kind of like promote the character. So it's just weird, like there's different dolls or different puppets and just different weird footage just to like be like, oh, this is
different.
Like, not always cutting promos
mm-hmm.
for myself, but those are like my version of
promo vignettes.
Yeah, promo vignettes, exactly. So it's a lot of that on my YouTube channel.
Now, so currently, the last question I'm going to ask tonight. What is Ricky Mandel the wrestler like right now? What do you get when Ricky Mandel comes to your town and he's raring to fight?
Oh, something different. I mean, people know when I'm in the ring with. They're going to get something different because it's not just going to be wrestling. I'm always thinking of new creative things to do, to think outside the box, and to do anything I can just to touch them emotionally. You want them to see something different, which they will, and I want them to leave remembering something, which at the very least they could go, hey, do you remember the guy who was like acting all weird and attacked the guy with a tiger puppet at the end of the match? Yeah, I like that. So that's what you're going to get.
Cool. Well, you know what? This was a really fun time, folks. You know all the places you can get a hold of Ricky. You know how you can check out his stuff. Last thing I'm going to ask Ricky, since you brought it up earlier, if you wanted me to listen to one band that I may not know that's in your mental playlist all the time, who would it be?
I've been listening to a ton of Avenged Sevenfold lately.
Okay. At least I know them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm not saying people don't know them, but
mm-hmm.
I actually met somebody recently who, when I was talking to her, I brought up Avenged Sevenfold, and she's like, I don't know who they are. And I'm like, oh, well...
We can no longer be friends.
What type of music you like. Depending on what type of music you like, you may or may not like them. I don't know. I personally do. So...
Excellent.
But that's kind of like my go-to as of right now. But that could change tomorrow, and I could be back to, Aerosmith or Offspring or something. I don't know.
Okay, well, fans, like we said, you know how to get a hold of Ricky. Thank you, Ricky. This was a great time. We learned some cool stuff today.
No, thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you more wherever you appear.
Absolutely. Take it easy, my friend.
Hey, fans, I got to tell you, I had a great time talking with Ricky Mandel. I mean, his stuff about just a fascinating guy. I mean, there was one time we joked in the interview where he said he could talk about creative process and his character in Lucha Underground that we could probably spend a whole hour just talking about that. I almost got the feeling me and him could have spent hours talking lots of wrestling. So, and I found that very interesting and refreshing, especially since I never knew the guy. This was the first time I got to deal with him. Now, fans, what we're going to do right now is we are going to take a quick commercial break. And we get back, we're going to go into our 3 regular shows that we cover. It used to be 4, but, we've cut it down to 3 for a little while. And who knows, maybe if things get better on the Impact side, we may take it out of mothballs. We'll see.
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to the Wrestling POV podcast.
All right, fans. Now, you know what? We cover a couple shows regularly for you guys that the bigger independent shows, and those usually revolve WWE, NXT UK, Ring of Honor, and Major League Wrestling. Now we're going to start off. Elio is going to lead us through. Gentlemen, tell us about. Let's talk a bit about this week's WWE NXT UK.
So NXT UK, this week we begin with a promo by the newly formed faction of Imperium, which is comprised of Marcel Barthel, Fabian Eichner, and Walter.
Now I like the
and
way
they say that.
Okay, I like the way these guys look. Okay, Imperium's kind of cool. I kind of wish though they had a spokesperson because they're a tiny bit dry. But I mean that's their characters, right? I mean Nikolai Volkov was a big dude, but he needed Freddie Blassie to be there, jabbering the mouth. Yep. So, I like the way they look. I'm not sure they're the best to give the mic to.
Well, apparently they said they want to bring professionalism back to their sport, and they're here to take control of NXT because British Strong Style has expired.
And of course, there's a team called British Strong Style who did not take too lightly to this. They didn't take that very well.
They came out and a brawl erupted between the two teams, and that sets up a match between them in 2 weeks.
So are you saying that British Strong Style came down from Mustache Mountain to... Anyways. Yes, folks, British Strong Style is made up of Pete Dunne and the tag team Mustache Mountain, made of... Tyler Bates and Trent Seven. I wonder what happened to the first 6 Trents. Anyways, okay, go on. What else?
Okay, so in the opening match, we had Gallus defeating Carl, Romo, and A-Kid.
Don't you mean Jobber 1 and Jobber 2?
Jobber 1 and Jobber 2. A-Kid and... actually, by the way, last week we mentioned Brandon Cutler. I got it mixed up with an NXT guy with the same last name.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Yeah. Let's face it, man. Gallus is boring as crap.
Gallus, this time it wasn't the Coffee Brothers. It was Mark Coffee and Wolfgang. We have an interview with Saya Brookside, who said that Ginny's afraid to face her herself, which is why she brought Jazzy Gabber in to do her dirty work.
That makes sense. I mean, come on, Ginny's pretty terrible.
Then we had Cassius Ohno defeating Gentleman Jack Gallagher.
Not Gentleman Elio Canelli.
Okay. Oh, that's
My first thought of this match is...
I would chop out to Cassius Ohno. I'll think that to Jack Gallagher.
Well, the funny part is Gallagher is about as tall as you are. Compared to Ohno, he looked like a little boy in there. I mean, Ohno's a pretty big dude. And Gentleman Jack... he had some interesting stuff, but in the end, I think
it was Ohno with the rolling elbow.
Yeah, and there was a lot of Ohno trying to prove that, their stuff's crap, I guess. Is British wrestling's crap, I think that's what he's trying to say.
Yep.
So, Gentleman Jack did some interesting stuff. I didn't get the part where he threw himself down on his back, kind of spread his legs and arms up, and I'm not like, what were you supposed to do? So I thought it funny that Ohno just punched him in the face.
He was kicking at Cassius Ohno, right?
Yeah. It just... Is
that what you're talking about?
No. When he did this little crab-like thing where he went on his back and he had it so his hand was sticking up, and I guess that's supposed to confuse someone, but Ohno just kicked him while he was down, so I thought that was pretty effective. That's what I would have done.
Okay, I swear, Nigel does himself every week. Don't you catch what he said?
Well, what did he say this time?
He was saying, I'm salivating at the prospect of this master class.
Jesus.
Like, what?
This is why you're in the book, buddy. This is why you're in the damn book, Nigel McGuinness. All right, go on.
I had to go back and listen to it. So we had the main event. It was Toni Storm defending the NXT UK Women's Championship against Nina Samuels. Nina hit a backbreaker and drop kick, but it was Toni Storm with the Storm Zero to retain her championship.
Now, this match was, we draw a lot of comparisons to Nina Samuels and Ginny because they're kind of like the same type of character, but at least Nina Samuels delivers a little more. She's a much more credible wrestler. I was much more impressed with her match here with Toni Storm than when we seen Ginny fighting Toni Storm. Toni Storm, though, I really enjoy her. Every time I've seen her wrestle, each time she's just better and better, and she really came off looking as a very good champion here. I don't think Samuels really anytime during this match was really in danger of winning it. I don't think that happened. No. I think Toni Storm controlled her, and I do know I caught something on the internet, and I don't know how official that is or how it's going, but I found some clip of Piper Niven, is that her name? The big, Piper, the big
Piper Niven,
Scottish girl, calling out Toni Storm, demanding a title match. So I don't know where that's going to go, but it was floating around this week. So that'll be interesting. So, this week's NXT UK, I would give it a B. The Toni Storm match was great.
It wasn't a bad show.
The Gallus was crap. And
well, when have we ever said Nina Samuels match was great?
Yeah, that's true. And I guess overall there were some interesting things. Nigel McGuinness still makes me cringe. He says so much stupid stuff that it's like, all right. Let's move over now.
You know what?
Sorry?
I also, but on the flip side, I want to say I don't know if I can really blame Nigel, because I wonder if he's being fed those lines in his earpiece.
I would hope not, because if they are, that's some really shitty writing. Really shitty writing. Let's move on now to MLW. And MLW, instead of giving us our usual fusion this week, they ran a special on Being Sports called Fury Road. Now, so far, we haven't been privy to what the rest of Fury Road was yet. I haven't seen any reports yet on the rest of the matches. However, let's talk about the matches they did.
I have the list of... I've got the list of them. I'll send it to you.
Okay, do that. Last time we did this, we talked about the list, and all it did was cause confusion when they started putting those matches later on into other things. So just send it to me, and we'll see what pops up later. But let's look at Fury Road, okay?
Okay.
So, we opened up with a weird recap thing of, first of all, they showed Contra doing all their regular stuff. Then they threw this kind of little line out there, which I thought was a little bit funny, is they always talk about Tom Lawler's the first there and the last to leave, but they made it a big point to saying, Tom Lawler hasn't shown up at the building yet, and must be the weather. And it just seems so it just seems so much like a work going on that you had to say, they're setting something up.
Did you catch Jim Cornette? Did you catch Jim Cornette's WWE line?
Thing? About the dairy. Such stupid. Okay.
About the beware of dog?
No, I didn't get. I was thinking the one where he was talking about smell that great dairy air. When he was talking about Milwaukee being milk country.
Oh no!
Smell that great dairy air.
He got a line in about WWE's pay-per-view.
Oh, yes, I did. Okay, yeah.
When they were talking about the weather.
Okay. Well, okay, so we opened up with the first match was on paper. I wasn't all excited about this. It was Myron Reed against Gringo Loco. And, Gringo Loco's okay, but I have yet to see this guy actually win a match. And Myron Reed is just annoying. Usually you watch him and he's just a lot of annoyingness. Comes out with his mouth taped up and he's still continuing this storyline that the refs are unfair to him. But, to my surprise, this turned out to be a pretty fun match. And, lo and behold, Gringo Loco actually won. So good on Gringo. I mean, finally gets a,
I know, wow. Yeah.
Surprising. Now, they had a little quick backstage promo where Selena was going on about how she's been granted another opportunity to produce another show because apparently the ratings were so good on the first one. So coming up soon, she'll be doing another promotion, whatever they are, thing.
Promociones
Dorado, okay. That means gold, doesn't it? Anyways, then we had the finals.
Yes, gold promotion.
Then we had the finals from the National Openweight title match where we got to see Alexander Hammerstone, who sort of looks like, every time I see this guy, he reminds me of Chris Jericho had a bigger, meaner brother. Kind of, who didn't know how to dress right. And then, Alex Hammerstone, I always find it weird when these dudes wrestle with, blue jeans. He always wrestles in these kind of black jeans, like he doesn't have gear or something.
Yep.
And then Brian Pillman, sporting. I mean, he must have channeled, if he was dead, he channeled the ghost of Ricky Morton from 1984 for that haircut. Because, man, he
whoa.
was blonde,
Wow.
white, see-through hair there, man.
Yeah, I mean, you said that he dyed his hair like when he appeared at AEW Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, and like because I was running back and forth between the living room and the family room, so I wasn't really paying attention. But then when I saw him, I'm like, what did he just do to his hair?
It was something, folks. I got to tell you, that was some blonde-ass hair going on. In the end, Hammerstone gets the win, becomes the first national openweight champion. Okay? Then they showed us this really weird video that looked like it was taken like by somebody's camcorder of Tom Lawler tied to a chair, gagged, and being beaten by Contra members.
I saw that. That was ridiculous.
It was something. And then, I don't even know how to say stuff like this. It just reminds me of silly stuff with like Brian Pillman hiding in his house with a gun waiting for Stone Cold. Like, so over the top. Like, you think, how come the police aren't involved? You know, like, anyways. So finally, the main event, Teddy Hart taking on Jimmy Havoc. Now, Hart looked good here. I mean, I like the fact is, yeah, there was some plunder and nonsense from Havoc, but it seemed like Hart really went out of his way to out-wrestle him and really just kept nailing him with high-impact maneuvers to throw him off his game. Of course, we had one gross spot in there where Havoc takes one of his 8x10s and slides it across Teddy's fingers, and then between his fingers, and then between his mouth, and do the paper cut thing. And so in the end, a couple rolling Canadian busters, and it's done. I thought Teddy looked particularly good tonight. Jimmy Havoc was a little bit underplayed for what you usually get from him, which I'm glad, because he's in the book for a reason. We don't really enjoy a lot of the garbage he does.
No.
And all in all, pretty interesting match. I liked it. And the whole card itself, I'm going to give the MLW Fury Road, I'm going to give it an A, because all the matches were from good to solid. Sure, the Contra stuff was a little dumb, but it wasn't overly done, and it was continuing the theme of something has to be done with Contra. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, MLW is such an easy, fun watch.
It really is. And
MLW is always a fun, easy watch. Yeah.
And I would encourage fans, if you're fans who recognize the other shows and you've heard of MLW and you're not sure where to look for it, believe it or not, you can find their weekly show on YouTube under MLW.
They have their own YouTube channel.
Yeah, and every week they put up a fusion at every Monday night. So it's really fun stuff. Lots of a mixture of good, solid indie wrestlers mixed with luchador wrestlers, and presented in a way where luchador isn't, like lucha wrestling isn't idiotic, like sometimes you see it on some lucha shows where it's just doesn't make any sense. It's tailor-made for an American audience, and it's good stuff. So you know what?
Plus you have Mance Warner.
We did not see our buddy Mance this week, but you know what? Mance is definitely one of the highlights of that show. So we're going to finish off now. Let's talk some Ring of Honor.
Okay, Ring of Honor. So, Ring of Honor this week, we start with a four-way tag team with the Bouncers being Young Lions, The Kingdom, and Coast to Coast.
I don't get Coast to Coast, man. There's something about Coast to Coast that's so unviable.
That's Leon St. Giovanni, right?
Yeah, like
LSG or something.
Yeah, I don't get these guys. Like, I don't see the appeal to them. I don't know why ROH pushes them. They're not very exciting. I don't know. Coast to Coast, yeah. This whole match here, let's face it. I mean, the only credible people in here were the Kingdom and the fat dudes, and of course the fat dudes end up winning. But
LSG I only recognize because I've seen him on WrestlePro.
Okay. Well, so the match itself, it was okay. It wasn't anything special.
Actually, yeah, but before that, we had a promo by Allure telling everyone that they better recognize. So we better recognize.
Okay, recognize. Moving on.
After the tag team, we had a promo with Bloodline, and this was what you were talking about a few weeks ago.
About PJ Black.
PJ Black, yeah. So I guess this is it.
This is the official him joining into the storyline of being part of Bloodline, yeah. Okay.
And then we had Josh Woods defeating Maverick Boone, who I never heard of. So.
Yeah. He was jobber number 3 this week, I believe.
And in the main event, it was LIJ defeating Satoshi Kojima and Yuji Nagata.
Now,
Evil and Sonata are going over.
Yeah, of course they are. I mean, just by knowing the whole structure of New Japan, Nagata and Kojima, they don't really team a lot. Well, they do team a lot in Young Lion matches. They're not really any kind of credible team, unlike the LIJ guys who are a team who are just coming off being World Tag Team Champions not too long ago. I guess this is the kind of match, this is the kind of match for people who don't watch New Japan but are excited to see some cool Japanese wrestlers. And it was a showcase of these Japanese guys, okay? There was no doubt in my mind that LIJ was going to win this. But it was fun stuff.
Right.
So, all in all, what did you think of this week's ROH?
This week's ROH, which ended with Dalton Castle's promo attacking the boys again. But I thought I'm gonna go with a B for this week. It wasn't bad.
I'm going to give it a B-, just from the fact that the Japan stuff, the Japanese guys were okay. The rest of the matches were... I don't think I would necessarily... If this was a videotape in the day and we were trading, I probably would have skipped those matches. They weren't really worth all that much watching. All in all...
Wait, you want to watch ROH that I recorded last night? Sure, I'll trade you.
I'll trade you for the New Japan day 13 I still have. Okay. So let's... folks... Every week we do this thing called the Book of Shame. We open up the Book of Shame, talk about... The Book of Shame is filled with people, with concepts, with things that just annoy the crap out of us. And when we see it, it goes in our Book of Shame. So who's in this week's... Who's in the book right now? Let's see if they get it. Let's see if they can claw their way out of there.
Okay, let's find out who is in the book this week. I'm opening the book right now. And what do we have here? Our first entry is... El Hijo de Los Angeles Park.
Oh, my goodness. The Mexican Santa elf. No, he's in the book.
Facade.
I think Facade was he not the first person we put in this book?
He was the first one that we put in.
And we didn't put him out of malice like we do for...
He was our first entry.
OVE or for Callahan. No, he's so ridiculous. Yeah, he's cringeworthy. Yeah, Facade stays in.
We have that F word.
Oh, that'll always stay in.
We have Jimmy Havoc.
Jimmy Havoc, kind of gross. You stay in, buddy.
Madman Fulton.
Madman Fulton. Just, you're in by company. You hang with OVE, you die with OVE.
Then we had Miguel Cole.
Oh, Miguel Cole. You evil little sock puppet. I'm supposed to deal with you. Folks, this week, I will be appearing on Wrestling Podcast POV, the regular show. I'll be co-hosting with Rick Serrano III and Miguel,
the WPOV Global Champion, the first champion.
Yeah, you know what? I give him that. He did. He's the only guy who finished in the positive. Come on, Elio. We all finished negative in this thing, for God's sake. So we'll give the guy his props.
I know we did terrible.
And luckily, Miguel was too dumb to figure out how to figure out his points game, so he didn't even get in it. So. But anyways, Miguel...
He must have been drunk again.
Miguel, just your material angers me, so... And I mean that, like, metaphysically and physically. So yes, you stay in the book, Miguel. Who else?
Much anger.
I'm an angry man.
Nigel McGuinness.
Oh my gosh, Nigel McGuinness. You are cringe. Now, you are the cringe-worthy part. Like Sami Callihan disgusts us. OVE angers us. But you make us cringe like an old man farting in church, and that old man's your grandpa, and you're standing next to him, and everyone looks over. Ah! To hell with you, Nigel McGuinness.
Oh,
no. Are you okay, Elio?
Then next we have Sami Callihan.
Oh, Sami Callihan. You do so many gross bodily function things. You're just... You're yucko, man. You're gross-ass yucko, and you deserve to be in this book.
We have 2 asterisks next to his name.
Yeah. He might get a third the way he keeps going.
Then we have the NXT... we have that one. Did you catch that
Her
one's
name is Casey. Her name is Casey something, yeah. So Casey, the backstage...
Was she at Fury Road?
Yeah, I think she was. African-American girl. She talks like, oh my God. I can't believe this is happening.
Was she going to interview...
Yeah.
Was she going to interview Alex Hammerstone?
I think she was.
Okay, that's her.
Yeah. She's terrible, man. She's a terrible actress, a terrible host.
Okay.
Yeah, she stays in.
Okay, so that's her name. We got her name. Okay, the Crisp brothers.
Oh, come on. The Chris brothers wouldn't even have... If they weren't just like Sammy Callahan's bum buddies, we wouldn't even know who those losers were. Nobody'd be bilking their dumb asses except people in Ohio.
Then we have The Hunt.
Oh, The Hunt is cringeworthy. They are like... They were like the crap...
They are.
They're like the old tag teams. Remember back in WWE where they'd have some... Oh, it's the Killer Bees. Oh, who's scared of the damn Killer Bees? I mean, that's what The Hunt is. You're the Killer Bees of today. At least the Killer Bees had talent. You know, like Jim Brunzell could jump. What can you guys do? You can't even get on a ride on a Ferris wheel because you're not tall enough to get on... Ugh.
Damn, TV's on fire this week. You're not having any of it, are you?
I'm having none of this crap.
Our final entry is Tommy Dreamer.
Tommy Dreamer. He definitely is our grandpa. I'm pretty sure he's old enough to be just about everyone's grandpa in the continental U.S. Why is this guy still wrestling? Who sells him pleather? Who sells pleather to an 80-year-old man? Where did he get a kendo stick? Would you give an 80-year-old man a kendo stick? Because somebody did.
Exactly.
Oh, Tommy Dreamer. Why won't you die and leave us some inheritance? If we have to put up with your crap, we should get at least some inheritance.
We should give Killer Cross his kendo sticks to break.
Over his head, yes. Well, is that this week's book? Because I don't have anything. Maybe I'm annoyed because there's nobody to put in this week.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, folks, you know what?
Yeah, that's all the entries. Yep.
All right. Well, you know what, folks? As you can see, the Book of Shame has got me a little bit worked up this week. And I'm gonna take a cold beverage. I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna take my picture of Miguel Cole and stick another dart in it, and I'm gonna make another crank call to Nigel McGuinness's wife and tell him, okay? I am calming down. I am calming down, folks.
Are you okay?
I wouldn't say I'm okay. Right. Are you kidding? These people work me up, man. These people work me up. Folks, we've had a great time this week. What a great way to vent our anger. Elio. Tell the people how to get a hold of us.
Okay, so you can find us on Facebook at the Wrestling POV Podcast, Instagram Wrestling POV Wrestling POV1, and Twitter at Wrestling POV.
Well, there you go, folks. And you know what?
And we are on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Podbean. Yep.
And you know what? We're also, there's a sister show. You heard us making reference to us. It is called Wrestling. It's Wrestling POV. And it's the mother of our show, and it features some great stuff every week. You got Tony Diaz, you got Mimi Goody, you've got Rick Serrano III, and I think some ridiculous sock puppet. I can't remember his name right now, but I do know that show comes out on this same network every Saturday. Our show comes out on Wednesdays. This Saturday, after you're hearing me talk, I'll be appearing on their show. Apparently the ratings went down because of Tony, so they're asking me to fill it in for one day to boost them back up. So I'm going to outshine Tony, and I'm going to be on there, and me and Rick Serrano and that puppet are going to tear apart Wrestling POV. See you there, folks. Elio, say goodnight to the good folks everywhere.
All right, listeners, we will talk to you next week.